We shall not cease from exploration. And the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time. Through the unknown remembered gate, when the last of earth left to discover is that which was the beginning.
Tom, thank you for coming on today.
Okay, Caleb, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it, buddy.
So we already got to talking a bit before the episode. It's all confidential now. Nobody will ever know what we said.
That's right.
But
Good.
Could you just talk a little bit about what it is that you do in Bishop McCort and maybe like what you did before you were here?
Sure. I'm the principal and CAO here at Bishop McCort Catholic High School and Catholic Academy, really, here in the Johnstown region. And my role is to oversee the academics and all other aspects of the academy, pre-K through grade 12. We have 3 buildings. We have the high school here. We have the East Campus, also known as the St. Benedict's, up there in the Johnstown area. And we also have the West Campus, which houses pre-K to 6 as well, up in the West Hills in Westmont. And the West Campus is also known as, to older folks like me, as OMOS. Mm-hmm. So it's a pretty big job here, but I love it. It's a great place for me to be. And some of my other background, I started my career at St. Benedict's up in Johnstown, and then moved on to Richland, as you know, mm-hmm. and was a teacher and principal there for about 15, 16 years, and then moved on to Johnstown High School as an administrator. I was an administrator there for 2, and then found myself back here in the Catholic school system here in 2017, and Mr. Fleming, you may know that name, mm-hmm. who was my boss at Richland, was in the position that I'm currently in now here at Bishop McCort, had retired, and we talked about me maybe filling this position that he was in, and everything worked out, and I've been here. This is my 6th year now.
Cool. So what got you into education and leadership originally?
Well, like I said, my roots were here. I went to Bishop McCort mm-hmm. As a student, and I really took to the folks that worked here. They helped me along in my academics. They were great people here outside the classroom. And I just kind of wanted to be like, I had some really great role models here as I was growing up, both male and female. And I just started to think that maybe one day I'd want to be a teacher. And, it's a pretty nice life when you have your summers off. That's definitely a quirk to being a teacher. And I was just really attracted to it. So when I went to college, that was the track that I went on mm-hmm. Up at St. Francis University there. And when I graduated, started subbing here and then got into that role. But I always wanted to help kids. I always wanted to be a part of something. Mm-hmm. All the schools around here, when you work there, you're a part of something. Yeah. And you're a part of something that's good mm-hmm. and wholesome. And I wanted that, and that was very, very attractive to me. And there's great people in education, and in all the schools I've been in, I've been able to make some great relationships with people, not just the people that work in education, but students, mm-hmm. right? Like yourself, you come walking in here, and it turned out that you were at the school when I was a principal at the elementary school, and just always wanted to help people in their life. And I'm a people person. I like to be around people, I like to talk to people, and that environment and the school setting, I was just really attracted to it for a lot of those reasons, and just wanted to help kids make something of their lives. And this is the best profession and what I could think of to help people do that.
Yeah. Well, as someone who, a lot of my immediate family is in some respects a teacher, whether it be in the school system or the daycare system or just really kind of any aspect of that. I've always also felt very close to the teaching and sharing aspect of things. I love talking to people, and that's actually one of the reasons I do this podcast, is because I've always kind of been on the shyer edge. So I wanted to find a way that I could kind of talk to people who I wouldn't normally be able to kind of sit down and have a conversation with, just because of different lives and what's going on. And so I've always had that really heavy respect for people like yourself who are really putting in the work to make sure that the next generations coming up have good ground to stand on. Mm-hmm. I mean, because I think some of the most important people in our lives, in my life especially, has been teachers that have been along the way, who have just cared enough to, put in the extra hours just to really grow us into who they see us as being. And I think that that's a great thing. a little bit outside of your teaching side, I saw that while you were still in school, you were you were into sports a lot.
Yeah.
You were into football and wrestling.
Yeah.
Could you talk a little bit about that?
Well, so when I was at Richland, Mr. Bailey, who's still a good friend of mine there, we coached football there together and helped a lot of kids.
Yeah.
And during that run, when we first got there, Richland was not good. They were actually had a terrible program. It was not.
That's interesting to hear because I mean they're like
they're
phenomenal now.
great.
Yeah.
They're great. And so Mr. Bailey and I we got in there together, and we really took some challenges on there, and started to help change that program in those early years in 2001, 2, 3, 4, those early years, and that's the challenges that you face and the things that you try to overcome, and really see the difference you can make in kids' lives and trying to do something like turning around a program.
Yeah.
And that's one of the most that's one of the things that draws me the most into the athletic world is when you're against it, when you're against the odds, you try to find ways to overcome the odds. And fortunately for me, I've been able to do that in a couple different programs. One of them in the Richland wrestling program. There was not a lot of kids in the wrestling program there. And the board there had asked me if I would be interested in taking over the position. I never wrestled a day in my life.
Yeah.
And fortunately for me, I had some people that I knew that did, that said that they would help. So we took it on, and I knew a lot of the kids there, as you know. I knew a lot of the kids, worked with a lot of them, and asked them if they'd come out and wrestle, and it worked. And we had a young man there by the name of John Rizzo.
Yeah.
Yep. If you know Johnny, he's a great guy. Still is to this day.
Yeah.
Still talk to him. He ended up being, a 3-time heavyweight state champion at Richland, and the youngest one in the history of the PIAA at that time. I think that record still stands.
I think so.
Yeah. And he was tremendous. And so, it's things like that where you walk into a program and you get a great kid that can help turn a school.
Yeah.
And help with school pride and all these different types of things. So I got a little taste of wrestling during that time. I did that for about 5 years. Had a lot of fun doing it. And, when you coach 3 sports, that can be pretty taxing when you're a principal and all those things.
Yeah.
So, then Mr. Bailey got the football program going. I got to be a part of that. And we made it to the district title in football there 3 years in a row. We had a lot of success. And he did a great job helping us get there. And I learned a lot through that process, watching the way that he did things. Yeah. And the way his dad did things, who we lost recently, but is a great, super great guy. And I took a lot of that in. And so I had aspirations of being a head football coach one day and running schools like Brandon does now, Mr. Bailey does now. And it just wasn't going to happen for me there because there were already people in those roles and so forth. And those people deserved to be in those roles. So I started to look at other options. And, still great friends with all of those people. But my next option was to go to Greater Johnstown there. And a lot of need there, right? And again, challenging. You always want to challenge yourself. I always wanted to challenge myself in the world of sports. And that was another way to do it. And fortunately for me, we were able to have success there. And the opportunity came to come back here to Bishop McCort, where I'm the head coach now. And when I was given the position of head coach, we just weren't in a great place here academically, and not academically, athletically. Academically, this place has always been in a strong place, but we needed to do some things to build it up, and we were able to. And last year, we won the conference and played a district title against Mr. Bailey.
Oh, look at
and
that.
They beat us by a touchdown.
Nice.
And but it was a wonderful atmosphere and wonderful thing. But sports is something to me that I got to tell you, Caleb. If I look back on my life, I could say in many ways it saved my life. From the time I was a student here, it taught me a lot about determination, fighting through adversity, and trying to find your way to a new place. And the football field was always that for me. I've earned respect there from others as a player. As you can see, I'm not a very big guy, right? And I was always able to survive and do well in football, and that helped me with my confidence that if I was able to do that at the high school level and college level, that, when I walked into my first job as a teacher and then as an administrator, it gave me confidence. It gave me great confidence to know that if I can succeed doing that, this is probably going to be very challenging, but I'm going to take that same attitude and the same visions that I've had in athletics and apply it to my professional life. And so that's what I've done.
Yeah.
And for me, that's been successful for me my whole life. And so that's not going to change anytime soon. We're going to continue to take that same positive attitude, and you know, it also comes with, you know, I've always tried to surround myself with good people, and that's a big part of it. And I've always tried to be nice to everyone that I've come across and be friendly to everyone that I've ever come across. I try to be a friendly guy, and you know, that's worked for me. And so when we talk about sports and athletics and the role that that's had and why I've been drawn to it and how I've had some success in my life with that, I attribute it to those things. And also, like you said, you got to have very good people.
Yeah.
Like I said, those coaches that I had earlier in my life, and mentioned Mr. Fleming, mentioned Mr. Bailey, mentioned a lot of different people. The people here in this building have helped me tremendously.
Well, and I find that an interesting thread that you said is kind of weaved through your life and at all these different steps, which is that, especially with when you took on the wrestling job at when you were at Richland, that you didn't have much to any backing with wrestling, and then from meeting people and bringing the right people onto your team, you were able to bring it to where it was, which was a big contender that brought Rizzo out of there and all that. And what are some strategies that, I mean, because it seems like this has kind of become like a very successful pattern with what you've done. What are some strategies that you have to build up something from maybe a very low spot to where it can be that successful?
You got to have a good network.
Yeah.
You know, like with the wrestling piece, and you know, Coach Pecora from UPJ, his son was in that wrestling world at Richland at the time, and Coach Pecora met with me and helped me to develop and who to staff and who to bring in here and what to do. And he actually spent a summer teaching me the ins and outs of wrestling and how to help me build a staff. You got to have people like that. If he didn't help me with those things or talk to me about how to do those things in the wrestling world, because that guy's the best, we know that.
Yeah.
That wouldn't have worked out the way that it did. You got to surround yourself. You got to have a network, and like I said, you try never to burn a bridge with people, but at the same time, you gotta work with people. You got to do what you can in terms of absorbing information from others to apply to what your vision is and what you want to do.
Yeah.
And I think I've been able to do that. I think I've been able to take a look at the people around me that have had success, talk to them, listen to what they've had to say, and apply that to the things that I've wanted to do. And that comes with risk sometimes, too. Sometimes you got to take risks, like the wrestling. I took a risk there, and it turned out really, really good. And not necessarily just for me, but for the kids, for Johnny Rizzo. Had we not been talked into taking that position, he may not have been able to do what he did because there may not have been a program.
You give him the opportunity to do it.
Yeah, and that's really what drove me to do that, was because I wanted a place for him to be able to do what he's wanted to do in his life. So you can't be afraid to take risks, you know, and network.
Now, in the present moment that we're at now, like with your work here as the principal in the CAA of McCort, I was kind of reading through, and we talked a little bit about it before we started the conversation here, just about like the different sides academically, athletically that you've kind of brought to the table here at McCort. What are some of those? Because I find that those are really interesting and things that I don't see happening very often. You know, with the school environment, I think that they're great. Like the 4-day work or the 4-day school week, that kind of thing. Yeah. You know,
when I came here, I had a vision for this school because I went here and I knew it really well. My children went here. Now, when my children went through elementary school at Richland, and my wife and I decided to move them here, it was with a goal in mind. I wanted them in a faith-based atmosphere, and my wife and I both did, in a faith-based atmosphere that provided opportunities. And we felt that for them, the best opportunities for them to get where they wanted to be in life was to come here. And I was still working in public ed at that time, which was a tough decision.
Yeah.
And I started to learn at that point, educationally, you have to do whatever you can to provide kids with opportunities, right?
Yeah.
If I'm going to do this for my own children and try to provide them with the opportunities that I felt they deserved to come here, be a part of this, and they went on to be cheerleaders at Ohio State.
Yeah.
They did great things, those two girls, and still are. And I credit that to the opportunities they had here. My mission is to move this building forward and provide opportunities that no other school can provide, but sometimes that takes risks. And one of them was the 4-day school week. probably the most fun thing I've ever been a part of in my life, and I mean that sincerely.
Yeah.
Everyone knows how much I love athletics, but this was an academic thing that I wanted to put my thumbprint on and say, you know, Smith's about athletics, and that's all good and fine, but Smith is more about academics and giving kids opportunity. This 4-day school week, we did it in 6 months. It was right after COVID in 2020. We needed to attract more teachers to our school, Caleb, because we were going through a teacher shortage at that time.
Yeah.
And, you know, the salary here for teachers is half of what you get in a public school. So how do we compete with that? How do we compete with giving teachers and maintaining teachers here at Bishop McCort? We got to give them the best environment. We already have a great environment here, but what more can we do to maintain our staff and attract more and attract really quality people? So this came out of a need to bring teachers here. That was the first thought, that to provide the best opportunity for the teachers and kids that we could to learn. And so I started to investigate this, and I started looking at some schools in Texas. There's a lot of schools down in Texas that offer the 4-day school week, so I called about 20 administrators down there and started doing the groundwork. And they all said, Mr. Smith, if you do it, you'll never go back. It's the best thing ever. And as I continued to research that, I bring my admin team in here and say, listen, you guys got to listen to this 4-day school week stuff. And they thought I was nuts. And they still kind of do.
Yeah.
But
it's a hard pitch to sell people.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And I said, you just got to hear me out. We'll be different than anybody else around us. I worked on a half day like you did at Richland, right? Schedule, which was great. Half day schedule. But let's be honest, sometimes those half days are a waste of time.
Yeah.
What if we could get everything we could out of a 4-day and not have a 5th day and allow that for enrichment for kids to go to tutoring or to job shadow or go on college visits or do whatever they want to, right, on that 5th day. And they sat back and said, you got to keep selling me on it. So I did. I worked on them for a couple weeks, and finally they started to come around whenever they saw some of the videos and things I was presenting them that was happening in other schools that did this in Texas. And I then pitched it to our board here. And I got to tell you, I was a little nervous because what's this crazy guy doing? I was in I think my second year here, second or third year here. And I said, this is what we're going to do. I need teachers. And I can't give them huge salaries, but I got to compete with the public schools because they know we have great teachers here and they can pay them more and pull them out of here. We got to quit that. We got to stop that from happening. We want to have the best environment for our kids. And so they started to listen to me, and they said, you might be right, Tom. You might be onto something here. I got 1 or 2 people to catch on to what I had to say, and it started to spread around the room. And they say, all right, well, do what you need to do. Get back to us in a week. So I figured, all right, we're going to sample the community, the McCort community, and the parents and see what they have to say. And I invited them all to a meeting here in the auditorium and said, I'm considering going to a 4-day school week. Definitely got their attention, right? And I had a big, 12-point PowerPoint ready to roll and went in there and gave them, I held it to 40 minutes, PowerPoint presentation, and I said, here's a QR code. I want you to take a survey, and I'm going to look at those, and I'll get back to you on what that was. So I started looking at the surveys and went through, and overwhelmingly, this is a really good idea. And I had explained to parents, we want to see you spend more time with your kids on Fridays. Take 3-day weekends with your families. Do faith-based things. Do whatever you need to do. And on some of the Fridays here, we'll have enrichment opportunities for kids with tutoring, job shadowing, all these different types of things that we do now. And they were like, all right, let's give it a shot. I said, we can go back. I knew that I couldn't. We can go back after a year. Let's just do it as a pilot. And I sat down with my teachers, and I let them vote on it. And the next thing you know, we're in our 3rd year here now of the 4-day school week. Kids love it. The first week of school was a little rough on the kids because we had to extend the day a little bit. And they're like, I don't know, Mr. Smith. But then when they started seeing this 4-day thing, it goes by so fast. And the teachers love it because they can we want from 34-minute periods to 48-minute periods. You can do so much more in that time frame.
That's great.
But you're not losing kids in an hour-and-a-half block schedule. Right, because now that gets really hard to hold kids' attention. This 48-piece thing, period thing, was pretty darn good. And so now they're loving it. And so we went in to talk about extending the schedule into the next year. We added 2 more years to it. So it's not going away anytime soon. And for me, The first year that we put this in, Caleb, we had 40 kids transfer into our school.
Okay. So yeah,
40.
instant. Yeah.
40. And that's been pretty consistent for the last 3 years now. 40 new students into the high school every year.
Okay. Yeah,
So-
instant return of investment.
It's a heck of a return on investment. And so the 2 years that I was here, I had 22 openings for staff, teachers.
Wow.
So over the course of the last 3, I've had 3.
Yeah.
That tells you.
And that is, I love that idea because I think that that's something, I was actually just thinking about that whenever I was leaving work on my way here, is just that I really think that a lot of things that people talk about in education and really any regards to life is being kind of like stagnant and things that people don't see kind of an end insight to how it currently is. It takes sometimes somebody coming in with a sledgehammer and being like, well, that wall over there that everybody says is load bearing, what if we just take it down?
Take it out.
And then you take it down and you find, well, the place still stands, and now we have this whole new configuration of how to put everything. And yeah, that's really cool because I mean that ties into what we were talking about with what you were doing at other schools too, where it's just kind of like, yeah, how do I come in with a sledgehammer and see what happens?
Let's fix it.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll tell you, Caleb, it has helped our student body in terms of atmosphere in the school and environment. It's unbelievable here. We have very, very little conflict because if something happens on Thursday, they forget about it till Monday, right? Right?
Yeah.
So that's one of the best things ever. And there's some truth to that. And any educator that listens to this is going to know there's truth to that.
Yeah.
And it refreshes our staff. Our staff, they get those 3-day weekends. It is awesome for them, invigorating for them. You know, there's not too many grumpy staff members walking around Bishop McCort. In fact, there are none.
Yeah.
That has invigorated. I have a gentleman here. He's coming up on his 50th year of teaching.
Okay.
Which is incredible.
Yeah.
And he was going to retire 4 years ago.
And that kept him.
And when we brought this together, I talked to him. I said, Mr. D is his name, Mr. DeFazio. I said, can I get a couple more years out of you? I said, what if we go to this 4-day school week? He said, I'll give it a shot for a year. Stick around one more year. He's been here the last 3, and he's told me he's coming back next year again. So that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's changed the complexion of what we do here, and it really I've had probably 5 or 6 other Catholic schools come to me about the 4-day. Out of those 5, I've given presentations to their board. Out of those 5, 3 have done it.
Wow.
One's in San Francisco, one's in Cincinnati, and the other one's out in the eastern part of Pennsylvania.
So why don't you think more schools are? I mean, those 5 have took it very well, and then in Texas was where you were getting kind of the field research from. Why do you think that hasn't become more of a thing that's been more ubiquitous? Because it feels like the evidence becomes apparent very quickly.
It's not for everybody. It's not for every school district.
Okay.
Because this is a little different clientele of student here. We have students here that, I don't want to say love going to school every day because I don't know that there's anybody that truly loves it as you're growing up, right? Yeah. But they're self-motivated. We have a lot of kids here that are self-motivated, Caleb. And in a lot of other school atmospheres, that's not always the case. And I think it may be difficult for some schools to run a 4-day because you really have to have a lot of self-motivated kids, and you got to have a classroom that's focused the entire time. Because when you're here, you better be time on task, or you're not going to get what you need to be. So everybody's got to be on the same page. Everybody's got to be rowing the boat in the same direction, right? And I just think in some school districts that might be a little bit tough to do. And here, people that have come from the outside that have come in to Bishop McCort and transferred in have had to make that adjustment. I'm going to pick up my oar and I'm going to start rowing, and I can't go opposite of what these guys are doing because we're not going to. I got to get on board, or I can't be here, right? And so they start rowing the right direction, and the kids that do that, we've discovered have a lot of success in their high school years and are going off and just going to some great places after they leave here. 100% graduation rate and 100% placement of kids in 4-year colleges. That's pretty big for a town like Johnstown, and we are attracting kids, quite literally, from all over the country to this town.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think that's one of those things where it's like the proof is very apparent but you are right. I mean, it takes people who are willing to see the reasoning behind it, because I think that is very true, is that if you give that to I mean, there's probably a lot of kids who would see a 4-day, school week as being something where, now we don't have to put as much effort in because it's one extra day of vacation. And it's kind of, and that's why whenever I saw it originally, I was a bit skeptical until I saw that you were keeping it up as like a day of enrichment, a day of tutoring.
Yes, sir.
And even if the child doesn't choose to take that up that every single day, every single Friday, it's still that option being there is encouraging that idea of that we're all here to do this for all of our goods. It's not just for a day off work, a day off school, that kind of thing. Yeah, that's a really great that's a great thing. I mean, I think that does show the power of just seeing what happens with things and seeing what happens with things that have been proven to work and not being scared to take that challenge.
Yeah, it's proven to work in this school, and we have the information that shows that if you have a school similar to ours, an environment, you can thrive. You can really thrive. And our teachers, you got to have certain staff because they have to have structure in their classroom to get everything in during that time. Most schools around here are in PA. They go to school 180 days a year.
Yep.
Kids,
that was us.
That's right. That was you. That's right. We're in 156.
Oh, okay.
See that there's a difference.
Yeah.
But when you do the numbers, time on task in the classroom, we have more than a school that has 4.5 days. We have more time on task in terms of hours per school year than a school that goes 5 days a week, 180 days a year.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking from my own experience with Richland being a school that did the 4.5-day week.
Yeah, it's a very good school.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
And it was wonderful. I have no complaints about my time there, but I definitely do remember Fridays just always being the throwaway time where it's like we didn't have time to, as much as we didn't want it to be that time, it was like we didn't have time to get anything of essence in. It was kind of just like, maybe do a test, maybe do a little bit of instruction, but we're just gonna have to wait until Monday.
And what if you have a pep rally or something that day? Now
and then everything's 5 minutes.
Now it's an 18. Now it's a 15-minute period.
Yeah.
So I saw that as an opportunity. It works for some schools and it works for them. But I wanted to do something different here.
Yeah.
And it has been transformational for this school. And when I say there are people all over the country that come in here for this environment, that is one reason that they come, because on that 5th day, they can go do all of the things that they want to do, whether it's to go visit a college or go over here and go to a camp and train, right? There's so much more to this that when you peel it back, there are so many benefits to it for family and for young people. It's pretty amazing, but you got to experience it to fully understand it.
Well, and while we're on the academic side, something that we brought up before we started talking was the new Bright Futures Fund that you guys have that was introduced. Could you talk a little bit more about that?
Yes. Fortunately for us, we've had some tremendous alumni, and I contacted an alumni here, and working with donors and things like that. We don't get taxpayer dollars per se, and that can make things difficult. So our alumni help us a lot, and we had a gentleman, not to be named, that gave us $1 million in cash.
Oh, cash,
and
dude.
It's in an account.
Wow.
And we are awarding that. It's a merit-based program, the Bright Futures Fund. It's a merit-based program that goes to kids that want to work hard and get great grades and stay out of trouble. Yeah. And for kids in the building here, we take the top 5% of the kids in each grade, and they get a nice chunk off their tuition that we award them for doing that. We just awarded last month kids that have straight A's and are working hard and in the tops of their class. And then we're also putting that out there for financial aid because it costs money to go here. Yeah. For kids that can show us their report card that they're good kids and they want to work hard, they can apply. We'll review that. There's an application online. We'll review that, and they can be granted the Bright Futures financial aid package, which could mean anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000 in a package that they get off their tuition.
That's substantial, yeah.
And when you add some of the other financial aid based things that we have here, if you're a child that's motivated and feels that they can do well at Bishop McCort, you can pay very few dollars to come here and get your education because of that, because of the way that we have our financial aid established. And now you throw this on top of that. This would be in addition to that. Yeah. There are kids that can come here and be here for very little.
Well, and the way that at least the way I understood it whenever I was reading about it, and maybe I'm incorrect about some of the fine details, was that the fund doesn't just end with that initial donation. It's something that's now open for any future donations to be added on to it so that it can continue growing.
That's so when the donor presented this to us, he told us this is seed money. We want to grow this fund.
Yeah.
And we've already had other people donate to the fund because they know it's going to directly help, and that it's merit-based. Kids that work hard and whatnot will be able to come here, and that will help them get here. And so we've already had there's been people that have donated over $10,000 to that fund already.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah, so it's already growing, and it's only been a couple months.
It's only been a couple months. We've had people take interest in it, and we've had people from the outside already starting to apply here that want to come here next year.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic. But we're going to be pushing that more and more and more, because we think with what we offer with our financial aid package, and then you put that on top of it, that can pave the way for. There's no reason why anyone that wants to come here can't come here.
Well, and in this area especially, and I mean areas like Johnstown too, like that is a very great opportunity, because I think that what it's doing long term is, like you said, it's allowing kids who have the ability to come, and really apply themselves, but they don't have the financial backing to do it just because of how their families, the situations that their families are in.
Yeah.
But what it's allowing them to do long term is then they can become the person who maybe 25 years from now is able to then give $1 million back to a school. Exactly. And it's just it's a cycle that keeps feeding itself in a positive direction.
Caleb, a couple of years ago, and you may or may not remember this, the city of Johnstown claimed the poorest city in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I remember that.
The poorest city in PA, and I believe it still ranks in that area. And with that type of poverty, often comes lack of academic opportunities.
Yeah.
But not in this town, because we sit right in the heart of Johnstown, and we're getting a lot of kids from the heart of Johnstown now with what we call EITC tax fund money. We get a lot of people contributing to that, and now with the Bright Futures Fund, it's creating so many opportunities for kids to come here, and they're coming.
Yeah.
They are coming because it's just an option that they have to get to where they want to be with their future. It's just another option. Kids deserve options.
Yeah.
If you don't, I'm a strong believer in school choice. If your parents aren't happy with your school that you're in, you should be able to go wherever you want, for whatever reason you want to achieve the goals and opportunities that you want to have in life. And if that's not the school you're in, they shouldn't be able to hold you there.
Yeah.
You should be able to get out of there, and money shouldn't be an issue. So I'm working extremely hard. My team here is working extremely hard to bring as much money into this type of fund, the Bright Futures Fund, so that every child in the Pennsylvania, I don't care if you're from Pittsburgh and you want to travel here to come here, I want you to be able to have an opportunity to come here. And it's my goal in my life to make it so that a school like Bishop McCort is free to every kid that wants to come here.
Yeah, I mean that's a great goal, and I mean I think that's what more people really should be setting their future, like their sights on the future too, because it's very achievable. I mean, there's people with enough resources to help a ton of people go around, and it's just like having people with who have the vision of how to allow those people with the resources to then bring it into where it needs to go.
Yeah.
And yeah,
if we had endless amounts of money here, like some other schools have around me, I won't name who they are, but there's a lot of schools that have a lot of money around here. And I know that some of them would deny that, but I would argue. We could do so much more if we had some of that funding here at Bishop McCort. We could do so much more for kids. We could have a special education program here to help people, bring faith to a lot of these kids that are in special ed that would love that. We could do so much for this community. We're drawing kids here from all over now. I just couldn't imagine if we had that kind of money, but I'm not going to stop until I find a way to make that happen. Yeah. I still have a couple good years left here working, and I like this school, so I love this school. And I know there's a lot more people out there, like the people that gave for the Bright Future Funds and some of the other donors that we've had over the years that love this place and understand how they're helping people. They're not giving me these donations if they don't see the results of what we're doing for kids in this town and families in this town going to great places. I mean, unbelievable Ivy League institutions kids are going to that come here because of the hard work and commitment and the atmosphere that we provide.
Well, and something that has come up a couple times in this conversation that ties into this that I wanted to talk to you about is this. Bishop McCort is one of the few schools in this area with a strong commitment to the faith side of education and the faith side of raising kids up, and I really love that side of it, and I love that it's not just a faith-based school, but it's a faith-based school with the results that you're talking about. And so I wanted to pick your brain a little bit on like what how that is tied into the faith-based side of it, is tied into the structure and into the curriculum of the school.
The most important thing that you'll bring up today, that's it. When you walked up to the front of Bishop McCort today, the first thing you see is the chapel there at the center of the school. And it's that way, and it's intended to be that way for a lot of reasons. That should be the center of everyone's universe that's in this school. Yeah. And we have a lot of kids here that are not Catholic, and that's okay. Mm-hmm. That's okay. What we're doing here, when we have an all-school mass over in the auditorium, and you have 300 plus kids in there and staff, and we're all praying and worshiping and singing and all of those things together in the auditorium, it's a wonderful thing. Mm-hmm. And there are kids in there, Caleb, but if you stood in the back and you looked around at what's going on in there, you would not believe your eyes at how the kids are participating and being a part of this. And then they walk out of here, and yes, some of them aren't Catholic, but they're getting the medicine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're hearing the word. They're hearing about doing great things for others, being kind to others. All of those things that you want for your kids, they're hearing it in there. And eventually it sinks in. Mm-hmm. And it has been an amazing thing for me to come here. And I knew it was this way from whenever I was a student here. Things are a little different now. There's a lot more people that aren't Catholic here, and that's okay. When they're under that roof, everybody's one, and we have one goal: to be great people, right?
Yeah.
To do great people and to do God's will. And we come out into these halls, that resonates with them in everything that they do.
Well, and it's better than, I think, in a way that it's not just people who are Catholic who are here, like how it was whenever you were here, because like you said, it's giving more people who maybe didn't come in with that, in their life. It's bringing that ability into their life.
There are people that walk into these doors that have never had that in their life. And you know what? When I talk to parents that are bringing their kids here, they say, I don't provide that for my kid. That's what they're missing. Mr. Smith, can you provide that for our child here? Yeah. You bet we can.
Yeah.
You bet we can. Your child will learn how to pray. Your child will learn how to become closer to God. Your child will be active in the faith here in the schoolhouse and be exposed to all of those things. Religion class. Mm-hmm. Religion class is a requirement here. And, it's a lot about being a good person in those religion classes. Nobody's perfect. I'm certainly not perfect. But every day we got to try to get better, right?
Yeah.
And we remind our kids of that. If you make mistakes in your life, and like I said, God knows I've made many, you can always redeem yourself. You can always come back and do better, right? And help so many people and impact so many people. That's what this school does. It forgives, it forgets in many occasions, and it helps. Yeah. And that's the message that I think we're sending out to our community with our graduates that leave here. And, a lot of them go on to do things outside of Johnstown. Some return, a lot of them come back. But there's one thing that they know is that they went to this school and they love it. Mm-hmm. And I'm proof of that with my own kids. They love this place. They absolutely love it. And, when they call me, Dad, what's this, that, the other thing, they love it. My wife's not a graduate of Bishop McCort, but she loves it here. She loves it. So it's been great for my family, and I know it's been great for all of the families that come in here and get to witness the difference of having a faith-based school in your life can do for your child.
Well, thank you, Tom, for coming on today. This has been a great conversation.
Caleb, it's been great catching up. It's been a while, right?
I know,
You're like in third grade the last time I saw you, and we put that together here in the early innings of the meeting. Yeah. But I appreciate you having me on. I appreciate the opportunity to talk about our school, and I appreciate what you do.